Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everyone. As we draw to the end of this conference, I have been personally challenged as a minister responsible for the education system in this country. The reason for that is because I think in many respects we in Zimbabwe have become complacent. We've rested on our history. And I don't know about you, but I've been so impressed listening to what is going on in other nations. Just listening to my colleague Professor from Kenya now, and the presentation, for example, yesterday regarding Rwanda, is a very sharp reminder to me of all the work that needs to be done in our own nation. However, I think, and this is the challenge, especially for the companies who are represented here. When we remember, for example, that all that has been achieved in Rwanda has been achieved on the back of a terrible recent history, a genocide which occurred there as recently as 1994, and the progress has been made there. And if we think of the entire region, if we think, for example, that Nelson Mandela was freed only 21 years ago, I think one can see that Africa is on the move. One of the telling points that came out of the speech from the African Development Bank this morning was regarding the demographics of Africa and the fact that we've got so many young people. And in one sense, that's a great area of concern. How do we provide jobs for them all? But from an ICT company's perspective, I think that that should be seen as a great opportunity. Because if African governments continue to make education a priority, and if we convert that from mere lip service to a practical demonstration in terms of how we allocate our budgets, and if we, as African nations, jointly progress from countries that were in the past marked by tyranny to countries that are marked by democracy, and we see a shift in resources away from large military outfits to investing more in education, that means that Africa potentially has one of the greatest markets in future for ICT companies, and especially those involved in education. I found the sessions yesterday very encouraging, yesterday afternoon, and I look forward to the sessions this afternoon. I want to challenge all the companies represented here to think about how you can invest more throughout Africa, and especially in Southern Africa. And to my colleague ministers, I know that we'll have an opportunity on the launch this afternoon, but I feel even stronger than I did before that we need to cooperate more. There are certain economies of scale that we can achieve. For example, if we try to source on a multinational basis. When we think of issues, for example, regarding bandwidth and how expensive it is, clearly as ministers of education and ICT, we need to collaborate, to have a joint approach to try and get those bandwidth costs down. But to conclude, all of this has come about because AfricanBrains took a step of faith. They had confidence to come to a country that doesn't have a good press, certainly in Western Europe. And we thank you once again for doing that. Thank you too to the companies who've come, who themselves have taken a step of faith to come to Zimbabwe. I hope that you come away with a very positive sentiment, not just about Zimbabwe, but where education is going generally in Africa. And I hope that this conference will mark just the beginning of a close relationship between the governments represented here and your companies. We certainly look forward to working with you in future. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and lunch is served.